I'm at the castle. I've got to move the Hyundai to get to the sub, to move the sub to bring the Volvo in to do a engine mount change. We have to remove strut mount, like the brace, battery case, and then the mount, which is in the back. The engine mount. Sockets. Shall we? Let's get into it. Take off the brace. First step is to remove the strut brace. Pretty simple, 4 nuts and off she comes. Next we move on to removing the battery terminals, then we'll take the battery out and so on, piece by piece, getting our way down to the engine mount. I'm not sure if I need to do more. Should be taking the battery off whenever you do anything electrical or mechanical that could affect the car. I'm going to take those nuts. I think they can ride off. Well. Ooh. We'll do that. Okay. Peel them off to the side. I feel sparks. Battery holder. Get that out, eh? Okay, now going battery out. I've been told not to store your battery on the floor as the concrete can sap it dry. Okay, let's have a look. So we're going to undo all of these buggers. Hopefully the battery box comes off and then we can access the mount. This down here isn't the mount, it's just another screw. I think it leads to it. 8mm. I'll need a socket to put that back on. That should just lift out, I hope. Come on, little thing. Get out of your hole. Okay, let's do it. Turns out there was an extra brace or clamp off to the left of the battery box I needed to disconnect as well.
It doesn't. It's got to go on a fucking angle. Out. Ta-da. Alright, battery box out. So this here is a plate for the box to screw up onto. So we're going to take that off now. And you can see our mount beneath that. 4 bolts. Big nuts. Main bolt here. I think that goes in, connects to the gearbox underneath, down under there. So we're going to pull that now, and I'm going to get the jack and brace it all up. Oh!
With a bit of help from the force, I was able to undo those large 18mm nuts. I didn't need to brace the gearbox up just yet because these nuts were just holding it onto the chassis or the frame rail.
Come on, make it last.
Oh, still more.
Yes, there were two 10mm bolts on the right hand side of the little frame there, and there was also a smaller 8mm at the front of the frame. All of these are just attaching other ancillary items.
Okay. Oh, more. Straight. Why does it need so many bloody screws to hold it in place? That's just the plate for the battery. So, first off, these are for the battery box to screw onto, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 large nuts there. Yeah, this is bigger nuts. Size 18. Remove those, I thought that was it, and then just off to the side here, you can see we've got 1, 2 little 10mm there, and then we've got a little 8mm, where are we? Just down there, attaching to another little brace. So that's all done now, so let's see if we can lift that out. There we go. Got to be a bit violent with it. Jam the jack under as far as I could. It's just resting underneath the transmission. I'll give it a couple of pumps just to take the weight up. Hopefully that'll keep the transmission up enough so I can undo that bolt. We'll see what happens. Alright, 16 it is.
With the jack in place, I was confident now to remove the holding bolt that was, or the mounting bolt between the mount and the top of the automatic transmission or the gearbox.
Ooh.
Just be sure to have something bracing that up before you go and remove the mounting bolt.
The other engine mount on the other side was an absolute prick. I did it late one night in a hurry because I thought it was the cause of a major problem. There we go. That is out. Yeah. Alright, we'll have a look at that. I put the two engine mounts down. I've got them on the bench here. I'll show you in a minute. But they're exactly the same, but as I put the two down, they're at two different heights. And I thought, shit, I've got the wrong mount. But this could be a good explanation as to why the car is vibrating. The engine mount's collapsed. Let's have a look. That's the newie, and that's the one I just took off. Look, that one can slide underneath the new one. So that is a good, I would say, oh geez, 15mm difference, 20mm maybe in height. If you have a look here, you can see this one is basically compressed. And look inside there, I don't know if you can see that. See, it's all the rubber around here is just all split and rooted. She's seen better days. Compare that to this one. Look at the height we have here. Basically this, where my thumb is, this has collapsed on the older one, on the older mount there, and inside is swish. She's a beautiful, she's like a brand bloody new, mate. It is a brand bloody new, you idiot. So yeah, that's amazing, the difference. There it is there versus there. I may have to jack that transmission up a little bit more for that new mount to go on. So now we shall do everything in reverse. Put the mount on, bolt it up through the middle, and then put the four outside bolts on, and so on and so forth, and put all that crap back in. Let's do it. Oh, good. It lines up, but that has to pump up. I have to jack that up more because that's not going to reach. Yep, the transmission is too far down. How's that? So because of this extra 20mm here, the transmission's actually sitting too low because it's collapsed. I've got to jack it up a little bit more in order for that to fit, because that's not even screwing in at the moment. So let's do that first. Just a couple of quick. That's better, hopefully. Yay! Alright, so those outer 4 bolts, these 4 here stop it moving around, but what happens is it's actually it cradles on top of the rail here that runs down towards the firewall. So all they're doing is locating it, but then they're securing it obviously, but it just most of that weight of this side of the engine is sitting on these this rail through these locators here. Anyway, let's tighten that little girl up. And I should check how much we need in the way of foot-pounds, torque wrench. So I'm actually screwing up the transmission right now, it's pulling it up. So as I tighten down the thread, it's pulling up that engine mount, the transmission. Alright, that's tight, but I need to check the specs on that. So we're putting the 4 18mm nuts back on now. They're like the locating nuts, and they hold the pressure down on the rail. I've done the other 3. We'll just whack the last one on here. Just do a little nip with this, and then we'll use the torque wrench, 34 newts. There we go, done. Right, so they're all done. Now we've just got to put the battery case frame back on. So put everything back in reverse now. We don't have to go, oh, no. Okay, we've got to rewind and go back. We've got to take them off, put that on, and then put the 4 on. Crap. Righto, mistake made by me. I put the those 4 18mm big locating, I call them nuts, on first, torqued it all up to spec, and then went to put this on, not realising that I have to put this on first and then the nuts go over the top. So I'm going to do that now and fix my mistake. Silly me, silly old me. Okay. Whew. Bit of muscle, mate, bit of muscle. Size 8 goes down the side here. With the problem identified and disaster averted, we proceed to put everything back together the correct way this time. Little nuts, big nuts. These big suckers on now. Don't have to go any particular pattern with these. They're not holding in a gasket, and they're really a location and clamping nut more than anything else. Okay, clicking away.
Yet again, we reinstall those 4 18mm nuts, this time properly, and nip them up to their specs. From the spec sheet, I think it was 34 newts.
Phone always rings when you're in the middle of something. I'm filthy dirty, I have to go wash my hands and get that. All right, let's get back to reassembling these. Where's the torque wrench? I swear that was sitting here. I swear that was on 34. Okay, so I'll just check those again. Good, beautiful. Beautiful. Geez, I did a good job. I know what I'm doing. Measure twice, cut once. Something like that. That's the old saying. Okay. Alright, now battery box I think goes back in. Yes. Before I put the cross brace on, I'm going to just check the engine mount on this side to make sure that's tight, because I did that late one night, as I said.
So while I was checking that engine mount, I thought it'd be smart to do a bit of a oil level check, and it was a bit low, so we topped her up with some Penrite oil, just a few different viscosities there, but look, the motor's done 200,000, so it's not a major issue. It was only barely half a litre.
Well, let's jump in and take that for a quick test run around the block and see if that vibration has disappeared. This thing just honestly feels behemoth for what it is. It just feels sluggish. I mean, it goes all right. So I've just warmed it up. Not quite to temperature. So what happens normally when we stop at the lights, I'm going to stop at the intersection here. Much better. When I was stopping before, it was really shuddering and wanting to, I don't know, it just didn't sound right at all. That is beautiful. So that's making me happy. I'm a bloody happy man when that works. So I've just saved myself $800 in doing both, myself and the labour. So it still cost me $300 in mounts. Go up the side here. I'm glad I did that. It was really concerning me. I didn't want that to just keep dropping. So that's another job done on the Volvo, the school car. Oh, so much smoother. Oh shit. I cannot get over the difference. It feels so much smoother. Wow. There was a very slight vibration while you drove as well. It's just a little... Tyre's a bit noisy. So I'm going to pull over. So before, when I revved it at idle, it used to really shudder. Whoa, that is so much better. Oh, I feel good. Always good to fix something. 1 hour of my time if I didn't do the filming. So not a lot really to get the job done. Not hard. Basic tools again. We've got our sockets, a torque wrench, size 18, 15, 16 sockets, a little size 8, a trolley jack. If not, just wedge some, a normal jack would work, but just wedge bricks under it. I don't know, you can do it anyway. As long as that transmission doesn't drop when you take the mount off. And just simply like a jigsaw puzzle, pull everything off, place it out, remove the old one, install the new one, put everything back in the same in the opposite order. I did forget to put the cross brace on. I went to drive off and it was sitting beside the car and there was all of the nuts there ready to be put back on. So I have installed that since. Right, hope you enjoyed that today. This car is more modern than the one we've just finished, but it still has its issues. It's done a lot of service, so there's going to be a lot of problems that need to be addressed. Not so much problems, but it's just maintenance stuff. Like that's a definite maintenance item that should have been done ages ago. But now it is done, and the car drives beautiful. Really happy with that. Big shout out to all of you guys and girls who are following me. I really appreciate it. We're growing pretty quickly, in my opinion. I'm pretty happy with that. Hopefully you're enjoying the content. Haven't seen the doctor for a bit. If you've seen him, let me know. And we'll catch you next time again on Flip My Ride. See ya. I'm going to put the car away, actually.